Have you ever ridden in public transportation of any kind? I was sitting here thinking about my day that I had. So I'm sitting in my lounge area right now. The sun is nowhere in sight, but I live in a place where there are no stars in the sky either. I like to get lost in my thoughts here. Do you have a place like that? Anyways, I was just sitting here when this story crossed my mind. For some reason, I can remember my dreams so vividly. Even the ones that, if people ask you about it, then you'll say, oh, I had a weird dream, and then just move on. You definitely don't share it. But this one stuck with me. So I was riding on the bus, minding my business, trying to anyways, and a man sat down next to me, older, maybe late 50s. I don't know where you're listening from, but here in the US, we have this thing called small talk. It's not unusual to just strike up a conversation with a stranger. But that day, I didn't feel like talking. I just wanted to look out the window and think of nothing. But he just started talking, not even letting himself come up for air, really. And I'm sitting there thinking, seriously? So I didn't want to be rude. So I just started telling him about this dream I had, figuring he would lose interest and change seats or move on. But he didn't. He stayed there like I was explaining how to rebuild a Mustang GT or something. And in my head, I started laughing. Serves me right. But anyway, the dream went like this. So the dream last night was about an alien. And he came here looking for dinosaurs. Not to fight them or anything, like a vacation. Like he really just liked them. You know, like when people go to Italy for pasta, that kind of vibe. He thought Earth still had them. And so when he landed, right in my old school's parking lot, by the way, where there are no dinosaurs, just buses. It wasn't like he landed off the coast of some remote area in Greenland. It was just my school parking lot. The one that makes you remember that one kid in the jelly shoes, Paulie. Anyways, I took him to the Natural History Museum, thinking it's bones there and of dinosaurs, and he could get the vibe from that. But he stared at the T-Rex skeleton for a really long time. He didn't blink. Then he just sighed, or made this sound like a sigh, like the wind through a dryer vent. I asked if he was okay, and he said, they're not breathing. Which, yeah, they're bones. But in a way, it kind of made me sad, honestly. So to redeem myself, I decided to take him to the park. I thought maybe he'd like the squirrels, since squirrels have this kind of prehistoric energy in them, if you know what I mean. But he wasn't impressed. He pointed at this girl, looked at me and said, this one's afraid of the leaves. I didn't argue. It kind of was. And so then I felt worse than I did, before. So I said, okay, I'm going to take him to the water ice stand, the last stop. It was hot, and I was tired. And frankly, the alien looked like he was about to write a 1-star Yelp review for Earth. So I ended up getting us a cherry and lemon mixed, because that's the best kind, obviously. He ate it very slowly. Then he asked if we had more flavors of extinction. I said we had blue raspberry because every time I have my mind fixed to get that flavor, they never have it. I told him it was artificial, but it was sent down to heaven just for us. He looked at me. He seemed deeply disappointed. But in my mind, I was thinking, me too. Eventually, he walked back to his ship. No words, no big exit. But right before he left, he zapped me with something. A little blue pulse hit my shoulder. I didn't know if it was a handshake or a kick in the butt for wasting his entire day. I hope he finds those dinosaurs somewhere. Or maybe on another planet or something. How about you? That's a cool thought, to just hop on a ship and take off anywhere you want to go with no limitations. Would you do it? Would you go? Where would you go? Anyways, time for sleep now. Good night.